Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Happy Saturday. I'm very sad right now. I'm very sad because almost all of the snow has melted. Well, not all of it. You can still see it like on the roofs and stuff like that, but like it's pretty much gone. I'm kind of sad. Look at this. I mean, you can still see a little bit and it's on the roofs and stuff like that, but well, we held on to it for a while. We held on to it for almost an entire week. I was thinking about this last night. Did I say this on the vlog, or was I thinking about it afterwards? Because I was talking about the snow and stuff last night. But, you know, every year, if you watch my vlog for a long time, what you know is that I always want a white Christmas. I'm like, I just want a white Christmas. That's what I always want. Ever since I was a kid, I always just wanted a white Christmas. And I think it was like 2 years ago that we actually did have a white Christmas. I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. But anyway, I was thinking about this last night because I was like, I feel like this is the longest in early December, late November that we've had snow stay on the ground. Like, I was talking about this yesterday. It'll snow, but then the very next day it melts. So, I know when I was thinking about this though, because I was talking to Tanya, we were talking about going to a meeting on Tuesday, because we have couples therapy, and so then Alex can just drop me off right afterwards. And, hold on a second. And she was like, let me look at the weather really quick because, you know, she doesn't like to drive when it's like bad weather and stuff like that. So she's like, let me look at the weather. And then she said it's supposed to be 37 on Tuesday. And she was like, yeah. So she was like, it kind of depends on what goes on with the kennel and stuff like that. She was like, but let's just plan on going to the meeting on Tuesday night. And so we have tentative plans to do that right now. Speaking of which, my cousin is sending me all of these dates. She wants me to switch all these dates. One of them was for this week. She was like, I was texting her back. She said, can you do the 9th instead of the 10th? And I can't because we have couples therapy and that'll just like run me really late. And then the other one was the week of Christmas. And so I was like, can you just pick me up from my hair appointment? And she was like, yeah, sure. So anyway, so we're switching some dates around. So there will be no cousin fun day this week, which is totally fine. I don't really have a lot that I need to do this week anyway. It's just kind of nice to get out of the house. But that being said, tonight on our way home from dinner, I'm gonna have Alex stop at the grocery store because there's some things I need to get. One being creamer. I don't know who said it. I think it was Lisa, whose birthday is today. Happy birthday, Lisa. But somebody said Coffee Mate. Now that will never leave my head. Well, at least for today. Coffee Mate. Yes, that's the coffee. That's the coffee creamer that I really, really like. That cheap Coffee Mate creamer, but it's so good. It really is so good. Speaking of coffee, okay, so I was like, you need to start using your... I have something on my eye. What is going on? I just washed my face and brushed my teeth and lotioned my face. For anybody that cares, I used to use a different one, and then I noticed that when I bought it, I bought it online, and I bought the wrong one, and I actually like this one more. Has that ever happened to you? So I used the Hims facial lotion. It's like in this little tube, and you just squeeze it, and you really only need like 2 pumps of it, because it's, anyway. And the one I used before, this is the Daily Moisturizer. The one I used before, I can't remember what it was called. I think it was the hydrating lotion. And this one I actually like better. Because when I pulled it out, I was like, oh, this tube is a different color. It's gray. And the other tube was like a light brown. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it's the same. Now somebody will say, watch, I know somebody will say it's the exact same product, Peter. They just renamed it. But I like the Hims products. I really do. I like the shampoo and the conditioner, the thickening shampoo and conditioner I really, really like. And I like the facial lotion. There's one other thing of theirs that I use. No, I can't remember what it is. But anyway, so I was like, you need to start using your Christmas mugs. Like every day I go back and forth between the 2 mugs I use, and I rinse them out and I wash them like every other day, is my sobriety cup that's like this. It's just my favorite cup to use, and it keeps coffee and tea hot the longest. And then the other cup that... Is my neighbor coming up? Yep, she is. I heard the garage door going up. I was like, is that neighbor? And then the other cup that I love is... You know what? I'm thinking, as I'm saying this, I'm like, I thought I bought a Christmas one of those. Why did it never come? Oh my god, if this is the same thing that happened with the Halloween one. Do you guys remember I ordered the Corksicle and the Rifle Paper Company collaboration? I did buy a Christmas one of those. I know I did. I did that, so I bought the Halloween one, and then it was so delayed that I finally was just like, it's not ever gonna come, so whatever. I think I canceled my order or whatever. But I ordered a Christmas one too. It's the cup that has the flowers and everything on it. The original one I got at Sullivan's. The last time I was there, I looked to see if they had any like holiday cups that were like that. They have them all in the same area, the corksicle cups, and they didn't have any. So I got online and I looked. I'm almost positive I ordered that cup. Maybe I didn't because it was too expensive. I'm almost positive I ordered that cup. The only thing I can think is that if it said it was going to come like too late, like the 11th of December or something like that, I wouldn't have ordered it because I would have been like, you're going to only use it for 2 weeks. I'm almost positive I ordered that cup. But anyway, those 2 cups are the ones that I use the most. So I was like, you've got all these Christmas cups. You need to start using these Christmas cups. So cheers. Okay, I don't know how to say this. I need to get online and look because I was calling it Cafe Bustelo. And then there was like 2 people in the vlog that were trying to help me. And they like spelled it out phonetically for me. And they said it was Cafe Bustelo. And then when I started saying that, somebody corrected me on that and said that's not how you say it. And so I don't know how to say it. And I know this is the one thing I say in my vlog that I'm going to get a bunch of comments about. But I'm just going to call it Bustelo. I don't know. I'm going to look online and I'll look up, you know, where I hate those pronunciation. Half of them are wrong too. Those pronunciation videos where it's just the lips and then it'll say like, Cafe Bustelo. Do you know what I'm talking about? I always look those up because I think I'm mispronouncing something. I mispronounce everything. I really do. But anyway, I don't know. Is it Bustelo? Somebody said it was, they put stay low. And then I started trying, I thought I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh my God, now you're saying it right. I'll be like out somewhere and I'll be like, do you have Cafe Bustelo? And they'll be like, it's Bustelo. And I'm like, okay, well I thought. Anyway, and then I have 1 raw sugar in here. I need to get some Sweet and Low or Splenda out while I'm out today too. And then I have some of the sweet cream. So last night I thought I'd be fancy while I was watching The Leftovers. Oh, by the way, I'm thinking in my head because I was thinking about this comment that I got about. I just read through all the comments from the vlog for the last day. Yesterday or the day before, I said I wanted to respond to some comments, and I didn't do that. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to go through the comments and respond to them. But last night, I thought I would be fancy. I'm real into the Earl Grey tea with creamer again, like when I went through my London fog phase. I wish I could remember what TV show I was watching, and whoever it was, I can see the guy. I feel like it was a detective show. I know somebody probably remembers me talking about it. Does anybody remember the show that I got, the whole London fog thing? Or was it a book I was listening to or something? But he would order a London fog every day. And so then I started looking up to see what London fogs were. And that's how I started getting on the whole thing. And then people sent me London fog Milano cookies and all this stuff. But anyway, oh, by the way, I gotta take a sip of this. Hold on. So I ordered these pods, right? I can't believe I forgot to tell this whole story because I talked about the Nespresso on here. So this is actually not too bad. This is pretty good. I almost kind of like the Cafe Bustelo with like just one sugar in it. Like maybe I won't put creamer in it going forward. I like the strong bitterness of it. And it just like cuts that out a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna tie up one story before I get to the other. So last night I thought I would be fancy, and I made Earl Grey tea with the spiced vanilla creamer. It was not good. Don't do that. Just use regular creamer in your Earl Grey tea. It was not good. I drank it, but it wasn't good. Anyway, so, okay, do you remember that I got online? I swore they were K-Pods when I ordered them, and they were... Okay, also, I have a bone to pick with you guys, okay? My ski hat last night was sideways on my head, like, for the entire time that I had it on and not one per... Why did you guys not tell me while I was filming? When I was putting it back up last night, when I was like, because, like, you know, like, I put it all together, that's called rendering it. And I was like, my hat was crooked this entire video. I know nobody cares, but I was like, oh my God, my hat was... It was, like, way up high on one side. Anyway... Okay, so I got online and I was like, you know, it was when I found out about the lattes, the one-step lattes, which I love, but I don't drink very often. That was kind of like a phase for like 3 days. I go through, I think you guys know this, but like I get real excited about something that I'm, like the limoncello, LaCroix. I think I got so many people hooked on that stuff. And I still do love it. Like, whenever I think about it, I'm like, ooh, well, it's more of a summer thing. I think the limoncello is kind of a summer thing. Alex actually last night... He, like, stopped at the gas station on his way home, like, 2 nights ago, and he bought, like, 3 bottles of Coke, which is weird, because he never usually drinks Coke, like, out of the bottle. And then he bought, like, a San Pellegrino, which is weird, because he doesn't usually drink, like, sparkling water. And I was like, oh, I kind of miss the LaCroix and the sparkling waters and stuff. But that's definitely more, for me, of, like, a spring-summer thing. This summer we will do the return to limoncello. So people still like, they're like, do you still drink limoncello? I'm like, I haven't in a while. It tastes like kind of like lemon ice cream a little bit. Oh God, I love it. Now I'm gonna have to get it again this summer. Okay, anyway. So you know how I go through these like phases of things, right? So when I got the lattes, the one-step lattes, I was real excited about it. Like, I wanted to buy every one-step latte that they had. I actually think I did from that donut shop coffee. I think I bought, like, they had like 4 different types, and I think I bought them all. I actually brought my gloves out here earlier. Somebody's got a U-Haul in here. Somebody moving in? So I brought my gloves out here when I was bringing my stuff out, and then I was like, are they going down to Main Street? Yep. Are they moving out or are they moving in? Who knows these things? My mom would always say, only the shadow knows. But I brought my gloves out here, and then I was like, it's not that cold. I don't need my gloves. Okay. So you probably are, by the way, wondering why I'm vlogging so early. Did you even know it was early? Well, if you can see my reflection in the window, then you know it's early. It is currently 2:51. The reason I'm vlogging so early is because my husband informed me last night. Remember I didn't know what time our dinner was tonight? It's at 5 o'clock. I was like, what? He goes, it's at 5 o'clock. I go, who goes to dinner at 5 o'clock? He goes, they do everything real early now. Because they like get up and they run every day and stuff like that. He does Ironman. She does like, they do like, anyway, I've told those stories. But anyway, I was like, I mean, I'm totally fine with that, to be honest with you. Like, and then I started thinking, like, are you now that, because I thought we were going to go, I mean, in the past, we always, all of us went out to dinner 8 or 9 o'clock. I mean, Alex and I still are good for that. Like on vacations, we always make all of our dinners at like 9 o'clock. And so, but I was kind of like, when he told me, I was like, oh damn, we'll be home by like 7:38. No later. I'll be in my comfy clothes, reading my books by 7:38. And I go, would you have any plans tomorrow night or anything? Because I just want to read tonight is what I do. And so I was like, do you have any plans tomorrow night or anything? And he goes, no. He was like, the girls were talking about like going to somebody's house to watch the game. I go, what game? He goes, the football game. I go, oh, the football game? I go, what football game? He goes, I don't know the football game. This is totally us, right? He goes, I think the IU football game. I go, the IU football game is on a Saturday night? He goes, well, maybe it's the Colts. I go, are the Colts playing yet? We have no clue about any of this kind of stuff. Although the Colts must be playing because, well, yeah, because it's football season, right? I've seen pictures of people on Instagram at the Colts game. So then I just asked him, I said, are you going to the football game tonight? This one time, Tanya invited me over. She has a Super Bowl party every year. Not really. It's like 5 people, okay? But it's like her and her husband and like her son and like 4 other people. But anyway, back in the day, she'd have like a lot of like recovery people over. And so we went over there. I know nothing about football, as you can probably tell. Everybody in my life has tried to teach me. My dad loves football. My mom loves football. Everybody's tried to teach me. Alex understands football. He really does. Like he went to a lot of football games in college and stuff like that. But I just don't get it. So many people have tried to teach it to me. I do not understand it. I literally do not understand football. So many people have tried to explain it to me, okay? I can tell you the scorecard of any pageant in the world and how you can figure out scoring cards on pageants, but I cannot understand a football game to save my life. I don't understand yards, touchdowns, any of it. So we were at I was at the Super Bowl party. Well, Tanya was standing in the kitchen with me, right? And so, because we were basically at the treat tray. Tanya whips up all this food, you know, and I'm just standing there eating all this food. So, like, every time, like, they would go crazy, I just go, whether it was good or bad, I didn't know. It's like, oh, or yeah, I go, touchdown! And so to this day, Tanya always goes, do that thing, that touchdown thing. And I go, touchdown! And people ask me, like, I think this is so funny when, like, because Caroline and I do this a lot. Like, if somebody says to you, oh, do that thing that you did that makes, and then people go, no. Like, they gatekeep humor. Like, if somebody wants me to do something they think is funny 10 times in a row, I'll do it 10 times in a row. If something that I do makes you laugh, touchdown! I will do it 10 times in a row, you know? Caroline, it's so funny, because we'll be in the car, and she'll say something, I'll go, say it again, and she'll say it again, and I'll go, say it again, and then she'll say it again, and we just start laughing like crazy. Anyway, what was the story I was going to tell? Oh yeah, I thought I was getting fancy with the tea last night. I was like, ooh, spiced vanilla with the Earl Grey. I've gone on to like 4 stories since then, and now they're all going through my head. But that was not fancy, and it was not good. Don't try it. Okay, so we're going to dinner tonight real early. 5 o'clock. I mean, I don't mind. Like I said, to me, that's a lunch. 5 o'clock's a late lunch for me. Honey the Land. That is a late. People keep on asking me, what does Honey the Land mean? It's a Sylvia Browne thing, okay? So there's this clip that's going around. I actually remember seeing it years ago because I watched her every Wednesday on Montel. Like my ex and I recorded it every Wednesday when she was on. So it's this clip, and this woman stands up, and she's basically saying that her house is haunted, okay? And Sylvia goes, you need to check into who owned the land before you. And she says, Pinkering. She says Pinkering with an N, but then she says she goes P-I-C-K-E. She completely spells it different than she pronounced it. And then she's like, Judy and Walter Pickering, look into it. She goes, they owned the house before you or something like that. And the woman, like, the thing that's funny about Sylvia Browne is, like, she doesn't miss a beat. What is so crazy to me is, I should have started talking about Sylvia Browne and made videos about her years ago. Because if you've watched me long enough, you've heard me tell a story where I was, like, devastated by her. Okay, so this is the story about where I was devastated by her. I went on, okay, let me just finish the Honey the Land thing first. Because now I haven't even told you about the Nespresso machine. And this vlog is a mess today. So anyway, I don't care. I'm having so much fun right now. Oh, there's the mail guy. Hey, how are you? Good.
You got a podcast?
No, I just make YouTube videos.
Oh, okay.
You got cookies in there somebody gave you?
Huh?
It looks like you got cookies in there that somebody gave you.
That's the dog treat.
Aww.
Yes, dog. That's the dog treat. I don't see your dog that often, so...
I know. I try not to bring them out when people are driving by and stuff.
Yeah. Hey, you have a good week.
Hey, you too. Have a good one. He is such a nice guy. He had, like, knee surgery, and, like, so, like, the neighborhood, I don't know who it was. It wasn't, like, the HOA board, but somebody in the neighborhood, like, put an email out to all of us that they were, like, doing cards and stuff for him, so we all, like, got cards together and stuff like that. It was really sweet. Like, he's been our mail guy for a long time, which is why I know, like, when it's not, like, our mail person. So anyway, Honey the Land is Sylvia Browne. This woman stands up, she's asking her, and she's like, look into the owners of it. You can, if you put Honey the Land in, like, TikTok or, like, Instagram, it'll come up. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll post it on my Instagram tonight for anybody that wants to watch it. So anyway, she's like, Walter and Judy Pinkering, but then she spells it completely different. She's like, P-I-C-K. It's, like, different than how she says it. And then the woman's like, but we've only lived in our house for 10 years. And Sylvia Browne, without missing a beat, goes, Honey the Land. The land. Like, the land's haunted, honey, the land. So for me, okay, when I say Honey the Land, it's because it's, like, so obvious. Like, it's like Sylvia Browne always talks down to people. Like, it's so obvious. Like, but it's never obvious. It's not like the woman's, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's the most obvious thing in the world. But, like, Sylvia Browne does not miss a beat, okay? So this is when, and I've talked about this, like, it's so funny to me that Sylvia Browne is now, like, I feel like, and maybe it's just my algorithm, but and people constantly are sending it. Two people sent it to me today, the Honey the Land thing. But, like, it's so funny to me because I was talking about it, like, 6 or 7 years ago, the way that people are talking about it now. Like, people have always talked about Sylvia Browne, but, like, 6 or 7 years ago, I think in my vlog I was talking about it because I was devastated. If you've heard me talk about my spiritual journey, okay, it was about 2 years. My sponsor was like, we got to figure out, like, what your higher power is. And so he was like, what's your biggest fear? And I said, my biggest fear is death. And so, which is interesting because that's changed over time. My mom told me that it would. She was like, the older you get and stuff, that'll kind of change over time. It's interesting. I don't know what my biggest fear is right now. God, that's weird. I don't really know what my biggest fear is. I definitely don't feel fearless. I'm, like, in my head, like, thinking through things, like being all alone. I don't really feel afraid of being all alone. I think I've accepted that death is inevitable. I don't really care about not being liked. That shows some growth, doesn't it? I've worked through some of my fears. I don't know. I still have fears. I mean, like, irrational fears? Oh, I'm still deathly afraid of sharks. I saw some movie the other day where they were dropping people, like, in the ocean. Like, even, like, when people are, like, in the middle of the ocean, like, and whatever, and they're, like, having to be airlifted out. I'm like, like, in that moment that they're being airlifted out, I just think a great white's going to come and just, like, get them out of the water. Like, every movie that I watch where somebody's out in the middle of the ocean, I'm like, they're going to be eaten by sharks. Shirley, don't call me Shirley. I'm like, I always think that. Like, even the pool, late at night. No, it's true. Don't call me Truly Brown. But, like, most of my major fears, it's kind of weird I hadn't really thought about that. I might have to take that to my therapist and talk about that. Or maybe, you know what it was when I did my fear inventory with my sponsor a while ago. But anyway, so, but when I was doing my, like, spiritual journey and finding my higher power and whatever, he was like, what's your biggest fear? And I was like, death. And he was like, you like to read. Let's find some books that will help you work through this fear. So, my mom at that time was giving me a lot of books that she loved. Like, she loved, like, T.S. Eliot's writing on Christianity, and I don't think I really read much of it, but she loved The Way of the Pilgrim. She just loved a lot of those books. My dad loves more, like, philosophically spiritual books, like Viktor Frankl, Man Thinketh. What's the name of that book? My dad, he talks about that book all the time. The guy was a camp survivor, and there's certain words you can't say on YouTube, but I guess you guys know what I'm talking about. But anyway, is it The Way the Man Thinketh or whatever? My dad loves that book. He talks about it all the time. But my mom would give me, like, which was interesting because later she ended up loving this book called Living Buddha, Living Christ, which was about how Christ and Buddha were both, like represented just, like, kindness, love, and like, if you look at them side by side, what they represented was very similar. And she loved that book. Both of my parents, as they've gotten, my mom gotten older, my dad still, like, started having, my dad a while, and I think he's different now, but we're very open-minded. My mom definitely was very open-minded about, like, Eastern religions and things like that. And I studied them, too, and I studied them in graduate school and college. But, so anyway, this is getting way off track. So my sponsor was like, you need to find, I've told this story 9 million times, you need to find a book that will help you with your fear of death. And so the first book that I read, that I found, was Sylvia Browne's The Other Side and Back. Because I just wanted, like, some evidence that there was an afterlife. And I remember reading the book. To this day, things that she said in the book, I think that's why it was so devastating to me. Because things that she said in the book, I don't even know if at that time I really was aware of who Sylvia Browne was, or, like, read a lot about her or anything. I don't even know. I think I was, like, at Borders or something. Remember Borders books? I loved it. And I just, like, saw it. And I was like, okay, this is it. And they used to always have all these books. Like, you know, if you went into, like, the self-help section, they'd have, like, you know, a table of books. I think I found it there or something. Anyway, I think one of the things that was devastating to me was that a lot of the things that she said in the book rang true. And I was like, I don't know, like, she talks about making a blueprint for your life before you come here with, like, your spirit guides that you, like, live on eternity forever. And that, so that a lot of, like, you're born to a family that you pick for certain reasons to learn certain lessons, like where you were born into. All of that is, like, for a reason. Like, you're supposed to learn certain things, and that you have, like, certain exit points. It's so weird seeing the birds up in the tree. It's like there's no leaves in the tree whatsoever anymore. But that you have, like, 3 exit points or 5 exit points that you can leave, and, like, leave this earth whenever you want. But it's up to you, and that deja vu is, like, where you're, like, you don't go exactly on your blueprint for your life. Like, you have free will, so you go off and on. But, like, then every once in a while, you'll, like, cross a point exactly at that moment that you had designed. And all of a sudden, it's a deja vu moment. Because you remember designing that moment before you came here. And, like, that makes sense to me. Like, there were certain things that made a lot of sense to me in the book. I mean, I guess she didn't have to be psychic to come up with concepts that made sense. But anyway, so my ex and I were watching Sylvia Browne one day. And this woman stood up and said that they had, her husband, they had never found her husband. And Sylvia Browne, like, immediately said, he's in water. He died, he's in water. And the woman said, my husband, this is online. Like, this is, like, there's a video online that's called, like, because I think the first time I ever talked about it, like, 6 or 7 years ago on here, maybe longer than that. Like, I looked it up, and it was called, like, Sylvia Browne Proves She's a Fraud, or something like that. And then the woman's like, my husband was a firefighter in 9/11. And she's like, yeah, fire hoses. they'll never find him because he's in the rubble, but fire hoses. I just was like, first of all, it was so tacky the way that she said it. Number one. Number two, it was like just to cover her ass for this poor woman's pain. She like didn't miss a beat. She said they'll never find him because he's in water, is what she said. Something like that. And I just remember looking at my ex and we were like, because she was right on it a lot. And that time I was watching a lot of people like, I think John Williams, is he the other psychic? I was watching him. I mean, I've always been into psychic mediums, probably because I just want some kind of proof at something, you know? I've always loved psychic mediums. I haven't actually been to one in quite some time. It's interesting. I've never been somebody that went a lot, but like if I found a name or something from somebody, yeah, I would go. I have friends of mine that have gone all the time in the past. So anyway, that's where Honey the Land comes from. But what's funny about that is, like, if you go back and watch my vlogs, I bet you, year one, I told the story about Sylvia Browne and stuff. So what's crazy to me is, like, all these people are talking about, like, it's just caught on, like, in this year, like, what a fraud she is. Like, I feel like I see these memes and stuff all the time, which cracks me up. I love the things that people do. People, like, imitate her and stuff like that. It cracks me up. I guess it surprises me it took so long. I don't know, like, that's what's funny to me. Because, like, if you're my age, we, like, grew up. I mean, I remember Sylvia Browne. I don't remember her, like I said before I read the book. Like, I'm sure I watched her on TV and stuff. I just don't remember it that well. Like, TV around that time, like, stuff that I really remember around the time that I got sober was, like, before I got sober, my roommate and I, we would watch, like, every time the Club Kids were on, like, Geraldo or Phil Donahue or whatever, because we watched a lot of daytime television back in the day. I mean, I feel like my generation grew up on a lot of daytime television. Talk shows, oh my god, love talk shows. There was a talk show that I saw that, I used to watch clips of the old, you guys, all of the old talk shows, like Jerry Springer, Ricky Lake, she was kind of late to the game. Sally Jesse Raphael, Geraldo, I watched a lot, because Geraldo's shows were kind of always like, I was going to say high concept, that's not what I meant, they were edgier. Like, the Club Kid ones, if you've never seen, like, Michael Alig from South Bend, he was from South Bend, Indiana, and he was, like, also, like, 2 years older than me. I think that's one of the reasons why, I don't know, I just remember my roommate and I, we were, like, so lucky I never ended up in that whole deal, but I was, like, we so wanted to move to New York and be a Club Kid. No, we did. And then, like, some friends of ours from Indianapolis actually moved to New York and knew Michael because Michael Alig, he was from South Bend, Indiana. And so they knew him before he moved to New York. And then, you know, if you've ever seen the movie Party Monster, he was the one that did Party Monster. Or he didn't do the movie Party. James St. James wrote the book, and then they turned it into the movie with Macaulay Culkin. And then, I watched all the documentaries about it years later, and then Michael Alig got out of prison. And then he had a podcast for a while with Walt Paper, I think. Not a podcast, it was a YouTube channel. It was bizarre. It was so weird. Like, I would watch him, I didn't even understand what was going on. Like, I had no clue what was going on. They killed, if you didn't see Party Monster, they killed somebody. It was like their heroin dealer. They killed this angel guy. It's a really sad story. And then, like, I think it was like, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It was like right around Christmas. It might have been on Christmas. I think he died of a heroin overdose. Michael Alig did. But, you know, you think about that generation. It was like Amanda Lepore came from that generation. Well, she was like one of Michael's best friends, Amanda Lepore. There's James St. James, who's like huge now, you know, and like does videos with like all the RuPaul's Drag Race girls. I think he's been on RuPaul's Drag Race as a judge and stuff like that. Written multiple books. I'm trying to think of who else. Richie Rich had like an entire like fashion label for a long time. I used to love Richie Rich. I don't know why Richie Rich was the one that I always like, kind of was like, oh, I like him. Like, I'd be like him if I was in that scene. We watched everything that had to do with the Club Kids back in the day, my roommate and I. Every once in a while, I'll still turn them on. Probably sometime this year I've watched that Geraldo, the same one. There's like 2 Geraldo shows. One, Michael Alig. This is the one that they have like in the movie and in the book. He brings his mom on there. They show it in the movie, but like the real one is on YouTube as well. You can just put on Geraldo Club Kids and it'll like pull up. I was like gonna look at my phone. I was like, when's the last time you watched this? Because I bet it was probably 2 or 3 months ago. Every once in a while I'll be like I'll see something about Party Monster. I'll be like, oh, you should watch those Club Kid ones. They were on more than that, but RuPaul was on one of them. RuPaul was a really good friend of Michael Alig's and was one of the Club Kids and all this kind of stuff. RuPaul's actually on one of the Geraldo. Is it Phil Donahue or the Geraldo show that RuPaul's on? speaks quite a bit. Oh, Michael Musto, the writer for the Village Voice back then, was on it. I'm trying to think of who else was like. Oh, the one that was. Oh, I watched her documentary. She still to this day is doing parties in New York City. Suzanne Barsh, fantastic. But like that was like a huge deal, and I can remember watching all those. But it's the whole audience was like club kids with like 20 other people in there. I don't know. We loved watching those back in the day. But back in the day when I was like young, like definitely in high school, my mom and I watched a lot of it. We watched a lot of Oprah. The camera stopped. I can even remember when my mom wasn't home, I would watch like Oprah and Donahue by myself. That was kind of what we did back in the day. I don't know why I just remember this, but I feel like I remember I had to like, in my like Comp 101 class in college, which would have been like my freshman year. I should go downstairs and see if I can find this. I have all of my like school stuff that I saved in this box. I feel like I wrote like, it was like, the essay was like, we had to write it in class that day, and it was like real bizarre. It was like your best memory from yesterday. And it was like me and my mom watching Oprah. Isn't that crazy? It was just like one page we had to write, so like the professor could kind of see where our writing skills were or whatever. But I still have it. I find it, I've seen it somewhere down there recently. Is it in that box? Or maybe I have it maybe it was in a journal, or I don't know. But anyway, yeah, I don't really watch daytime. Is there even daytime television on like that anymore? Well, Oprah left, and then Ellen, she's not on anymore, is she? She lives in England or Ireland or something like that. I guess we would kind of consider like The View and stuff like that. I don't watch The View. I don't watch any of those panel shows. I don't love them. Okay, anyway, I don't even know how I got to that. Oh, because Sylvia Browne. I don't know. I probably was watching her at that time. I don't know why I picked her book out. But yeah, it kind of cracks me up because it's not like if you watched her back then or you knew who she was. If you're my age, you knew who she was in your early 20s. I mean, we all knew who Sylvia Browne was. She was like probably one of the top psychics besides, what's that gal's name? My neighbors were on. They were out of town for the last couple days. They just got home. They asked me to bring their trash cans in, and I didn't know if they wanted them in the garage or if they put them. So I just put them up there. But anyway, Cleo or whatever. Joe watched that documentary about her. That was kind of sad. She was the other big psychic at the time. The guy that wore the thing on the head that was like, but nobody really took him seriously. I think Sylvia Browne was like the first psychic on like television that people kind of started taking seriously. Am I forgetting somebody? Because I would have watched anything that had to do with like psychic stuff. I feel like she was kind of like the first one that we took seriously. So when we found out that she was a fraud, I think it was devastating to at least me. But anyway, so that's where Honey the Land comes from. It comes from that clip. Just look it up. If you look up on YouTube or Google or TikTok or Instagram, anywhere, if you put in Sylvia Browne, and it's Brown with an E on the end of it, you don't even have to put it in there. If you just put in Honey the Land, it'll come up. But anyway, she like, when you watch it, what's so funny about it is, she almost is talking to this woman like she's an idiot. Like, the woman's like, well, we've only lived in the house 10 years. And without missing a beat, she's like, honey, the land. The land? Like, why are you so stupid? You're not connecting this. And she's like, she just covers her tracks so well. I think what I loved about Sylvia Browne so much was that, I mean, she always sounded like she smoked like 5 to 6 packs of Reds a day. And her nails were always real long. Okay. Sylvia Browne, the way she sat and talked and her voice reminds me very much of me and Caroline's grandma, okay? Except for that, my grandma didn't have that hair. The yellow hair with the long bangs coming down. My grandma had really short, like, roller set hair. Is this him walking? I can see the dog, but I can't see my neighbor. He's, like, standing out. They're going inside now. Did you guys get a real good look at me? Anyway, Honey the Land. If he walked over here, I was going to say something about the trash cans because I felt bad. I didn't know. In the past, they've asked us just to put them in the garage, and I was going to do that. They have it like taped off in their garage where they want it. But they texted me and they were just like, "Can you just pull our trash cans up?" So I didn't know what they wanted. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, she just was real kind of like condescending and talks down to people. I think that's kind of what people kind of loved about her. What's funny is that, like, people don't ever really challenge her. Like, if you watch the clips, like, they're mostly all from Montel. So, Montel Williams was, I didn't really ever really watch Montel that much until he started having Sylvia Brown on once a week. Maury Povich is somebody else I did. Which is Maury, I watched him, and then when every single one became about DNA testing, I was kind of out at that point. Big ones I watched, growing up with my mom, Oprah and Donahue. My mom loved Donahue, loved Phil Donahue. Sally Jesse Raphael. You know, I think, interestingly enough, too, like, I remember back then, first of all, these talk shows, the way they addressed gay and trans issues back in the 80s, like, if you watch them today, they're like, it's cringe. Like, the words they use, the things they say, it's so uncomfortable to watch, especially for me having so many trans friends, that, like, what you realize is, like, Tandy Andrews was on a lot of those back in the day. Tandy Andrews was a Miss Continental. She's passed away. She was the mother of Erica Andrews and the grandmother of Roxy Andrews. Tandy Andrews was in a lot of these talk shows back in the day. And she would say things that it was her way of explaining her experience to an audience that had no way of understanding it. But watching it today, what's so uncomfortable about it is, and I think I did this from a gay man's point of view, for a lot of my life, and maybe that's why it's uncomfortable for me watching it sometimes, is that to make other people comfortable, I would use language and words that I knew they understood. Not necessarily derogatory words, but words that, like, I would never use in describing my own experience. Or, like, this is, okay, like, when people would ask me questions back at work, you know, and they would say things like, well, like, how does it work? Like, is there a husband? I'm like, are you asking me? Like, I would never use this to one of my friends or family, like, pitcher or catcher. Like, I would never use that. Today, I think it's so derogatory. I think it's so disrespectful to be asked that question. I mean, I would never ask a heterosexual couple, like, what they do in their bedroom or what roles they take. Or I just think it's, even of a single person, I think it's disrespectful to ask somebody that. There was a long period of time where a lot of straight people, especially straight women, I don't know so much straight men, but straight women, especially ones that I worked with, would ask me those questions. But it was in a way of being, like, curious. And so I felt like, in me wanting to explain it to them, for them to understand what it was like to be gay, that was a conversation I needed to have with them, especially when they would initiate it. I would never initiate the conversation. Today, I would say to them, that's not an appropriate question to ask somebody that you don't know very well. Like, I wouldn't even ask some of my closest friends those questions. You know, I'm never, in 29 years of being friends with Tanya, like, do we talk about, like, making love with our partner? Sure. But do we talk about specifics of it? No. And I never have needed to do that, and she has never needed to do that. And I think that's, I don't know, like, I'm not saying that I haven't had friends of mine, because I definitely have, or we've talked about, you know, stuff in the past, but I don't understand that. Like, I don't, but there was a long period of time where it was like, I think that people, well, I think it's two-sided. I think that, like, the women that would ask me that I worked with, it wasn't just women I worked with, but it was, you know, other people as well. I think they didn't know what questions to ask. I think we live in a different world today where people would ask, like, emotionally, how does it feel? Because what I would say to them is, when you had butterflies in your stomach in 4th grade for a boy in class, so did I. It was no different. The butterflies were no different for me. It wasn't a sexual thing. It was butterflies in my stomach. It was a crush that I had. It's an emotional feeling. Because I think that back then, maybe not so much today, because we have so many TV shows and movies, but you have to remember, this was a time when there were no TV shows, no movies. This is why LGBTQIA plus representation is so important. Not just for us, but that people understand our experience as well, okay? And that it is important that we're weaved into TV shows and movies and all that kind of stuff. And so, because if not, then we're going to go back to having to explain if we're the catcher or the pitcher, you know? And then don't even ask them about lesbians, because that just confuses the hell out of them. And bisexual people, they just think, want to fuck everything. And that's where it's just total ignorance, you know? And then let alone they want to bring in, they don't ever want to, anybody want to try to understand what asexuality means or pansexuality and whatever. And I don't really know why it matters to anybody if that's how they want to identify. I really don't ever understand that. Like, I just don't get it. Like, if that's how somebody identifies and then it makes their life easier to understand who they are as a person, why is it mine to challenge that? That it's not mine, you know? maybe it's my job to educate myself on what those things are. I can remember when a couple years ago, asexuality started becoming a huge thing, like, especially in, like, they would talk about it in, like, books. Like, you would hear a lot about it in books. And I didn't really understand it. And so I started, I can't remember, I think it was a Becky Albertalli book that I read, and somebody identified as asexual. No, you know what it was? It was the Heartstopper series. And it was, I can't remember his name. It's the guy that reads all the books in the graphic novels. Well, I can't think of his name. And I didn't really understand it, and I started reading into it because I wanted to, and I saw a lot of people online talking about identifying as asexual. Because somebody identifies that, it's my job to educate myself on what that is. And if I want to ask them a question, most of us have made it through 6th grade. We know how to ask appropriate questions. So anyway, I can remember at that time, though, people would ask me questions like, are you the pitcher or the catcher? And I would engage in those conversations because I felt like they didn't really know what questions to ask. They didn't. And the only way that I think a lot of heterosexual people can make sense of it at that time was, well, this is what we do in our bedroom, and we're a man and a woman. How do a woman and a woman, or a man and a woman, do the same thing? They were completely missing the point of sharing a home, going on dates, having the emotional feelings. All that was similar. The only way we could assimilate it was that the differences are in body types, and so we have to make that. That's not really what it's about. So, but I would engage in those conversations. Today I wouldn't. Unless somebody, if somebody really wanted to know, and I said, do you really want to know what me and my husband do in the bedroom? If it's going to blow your mind and change your mind that much, first of all, it's not that exciting. But number two, like, if you really want to know, like, I don't mind having that conversation with you. I'm not going to put it in a video, you know? But, like, no, if somebody, like, if you need to know that information, explain to me why that's going to change your point of mind, and then I will tell you. You know what I mean? Like, but most people, I'd say them, it's really, like, that's a really disrespectful question to ask somebody. Like, you would never ask your mom and dad, like, Mom, do you give dad head? Like, you would never ask them that question. Like, you know, like, Mom, does dad ever give it to you up the ass? Like, you would never ask them that question. Those are rude questions to ask somebody. But there was a period of time, I don't think we're there necessarily today, but I think there was a period of time, well, if I do a Q&A, I still get at least 10 questions on Q&As where people say, are you a top or a bottom? I will answer that question. I'm not afraid to answer that question. I think what we don't talk enough about in gay culture is versatility. So that's what I'll say on that. But I don't even understand why that's a shameful or embarrassing question. I mean, 5-10 years ago, we were seeing people put up there, like, you know, like, YouTube videos, am I a top or a bottom? But, like, that's such an interesting question that somebody thinks, I think that we think, this is where, and it's not just straight people, it's people within the LGBT community too, that think that whether you're a top or a bottom defines who you are personality-wise. And I think, to be honest with you, in the last couple years, that script has switched. Because you see, this is getting way too much, but it just doesn't fit. That doesn't define who somebody is, their personality anymore, whatsoever. When I came out, we really thought it did, you know? I think what those roles mean to somebody is who's more dominant and who's more passive, emotionally, personality-wise. But, you know, there was a period in my life when people would ask me questions, but they never asked me questions like, I mean, I can remember my coworkers, and they would never ask me questions like, does it feel any different for you to be in love with a man than it does with a woman? Like, you know, and I guess my answer would be, I don't know. Like, what's your experience? Let's talk about it. Nobody ever asked me, like, how do you know if somebody's gay, to ask them out? Because we didn't know. They didn't ask me questions like that. They didn't ask me about the emotional feelings. They didn't ask me about all that stuff. They would ask me sexual questions. And I think the majority of them didn't do it to be rude. I think they were curious. I think they were, what time is it? Because I got to get ready for dinner at some point. I was going to answer all these questions. But I don't, like, in retrospect, I don't think they were trying to be rude. I really don't. I mean, they were curious people. I think they were trying to educate themselves. I just don't think that we knew the language to ask those questions in. So today, when I go back and I watch some of these talk shows where they would, like, if you guys remember the talk shows, they would have, like, 10 women on a stage, and then they'd say, like, which one was born a man? I mean, today, like, that same talk show, it wouldn't even air. And so, but they would participate in it. And I think because they were trying to educate people on their life experience. Like, that's how much, it's so interesting that, like, when you hear all this propaganda about, like, we're trying to do this and recruit and take down the world, like, we have had to play by the rules and normalize it. I mean, you know, it's like you grow up with boy-girl dances. You grow up with sending a Valentine to somebody in class that you like. I mean, it's like, I love the Indigo Girls song, Least Complicated. I think she says, I always did the wrong thing. Like, she buys her a ring. Like, and when you grow up like that, you always want to do those things, but you know it's the wrong thing, right? I don't know. There was a period of time, I think, and, like, I love those talk shows. I think sometimes seeing those trans women living their reality out loud. And somebody asked me the other day, why don't you talk about the trans men's experience at that time? I didn't witness that. I didn't see a lot of trans men sharing their experience online at that time. Well, not online, but, like, on television and talk shows and in books. I didn't see it. I really didn't. Or that would also be my shared experience. I didn't see that. I didn't see it out in bars. I didn't see it. It was trans women that I was meeting, that I was hearing their stories. But I think, like, watching those talk shows, although I didn't identify as trans, I identified to their experience. And so those trans women that were on those talk shows was sometimes, because, you know, the other talk shows would be, you know, like, it would be, like, two guys and a girl, and it would be one guy was dating the girl, but the other two roommates were sleeping together, and he came out on national television. Like, that to me was shameful and scary. So I didn't love those shows. But people, like, these trans women living their truth, and not shying away from the questions, like, there was something to me that was so vulnerably honest about that, and also very confident. There was a confidence about them that I wanted that, you know? I think it's like in high school, I love, and I still do, the comedian Sandra Bernhardt. And she was really, for me, like, my number one role model in high school. Like, my entire locker was, like, had pictures of her, and of magazine pictures of her, and I can remember her show called Without You, I'm Nothing, and I had the tape cassette. I had the whole thing memorized. I could probably play it today. I could, like, it ends on, you know, Prince's Night, you know, a Little Red Corvette. I know every word of that entire show, like, and did in high school, and played it all the time, drove my friends crazy. Well, I would see her on David Letterman, and she was, like, best friends with Madonna at the time and stuff like that, and there was just, like, she just did not give a fuck. Like, she really didn't, you know, and Here's Who I Am, and she was funny, and Love Me or Don't, and she laughed at herself, and I was like, this is what I want. I know people are confused why I know Sandra Bernhardt is not trans, but, like, these people that were confident in their own stories was what was attractive to me, you know? Even if they had to a little bit belittle themselves at the expense of other people accepting them, loving them, or understanding. And I think that's the piece that, like, I related to, that maybe you need to have to do that. And so I think there was a long period where people within the LGBTQI plus community were willing to laugh at ourselves or be the butt of a joke just for people to like us or accept us. And then I think in the last 10 years, the newer generation came up and said, we're fucking done with that. And I think that's where people refer to them as snowflakes, because society has gotten really, really used. This is a deeper conversation I ever thought I was going to get on today. I thought I was talking about this in Espresso Machine. But I think people have really gotten used to us just being, like, the butt of the joke and being okay with it. And I think the younger generation's like, we're not the butt of the joke anymore. And no, we're not going to take it. And we're not okay with it. And I admire that. And I respect that. You know, I never had pictures of my ex up at work. My supervisor would have been totally fine with it. Everybody that I worked with knew that I lived with him. They knew him. He went to parties and stuff. They knew both of my exes. My supervisor did tell me one time not to tell the patients that I was gay. They all knew it. They all asked me questions about it, you know? And I never knew how to answer those questions. And so, I mean, she told me, she said, if you want to come out, I'll back you. She was like, I just don't think that a lot of patients will understand it and things like that. I don't know. It just was, it was a completely different generation. And I think I was willing for other people's comfort level, like, never kiss anybody in public. I mean, unless I was at, like, a gay bar or something, hold hands. I would refer to people for a long time as, like, boyfriends as my friend. We all did that. Roommates. I mean, I still see these jokes, you know, online where it'll be like, my uncle's friend who's been his roommate for 30 years. Like, I mean, yeah, that was the generation we lived in. Do you know why we lived that way? Do you know why somebody's uncle had to say that their partner of 30 years was their roommate? Because the family wouldn't accept it. The family wasn't okay with it. Because if the family would have gone to them and said, we know he's your, at that time they would have used the word lover. We know, I hate that word, but I think it sexualizes it. We know that he's your lover, he's your boyfriend, he's your husband, whatever you say. And we love you for that. And we love him. That person would have felt comfortable in coming out. We didn't feel comfortable in coming out to people because they didn't make us feel comfortable. You know, it's so crazy to me that I talk about how my coming out story is so boring. It is. And you know why my coming out story is boring? Because I had 2 loving parents and loving family, grandparents, aunts, uncles, everybody that accepted me exactly who I was. Yeah, they said to me, we always thought you probably would be. Okay, because I was effeminate and whatever. That didn't hurt my feelings. I was accepted with complete love and adoration. Bring whoever you want over. I was allowed in my house to be exactly myself. Dance. When I came out to my parents, it was like, I mean, I was able to be, yeah, I was this, but there were moments where if I just wanted to dance with my friends and whatever, I could be that too. Whereas before, I didn't feel like I could be that. And that's really what like a lot of pride is about, and about, hey, how are you? And a lot of pride in coming out is about, is like feeling comfortable in our own skin. It makes me sad when I watch those talk shows today and I see these trans women making jokes about their own lived experience for other people to be more comfortable or be able to be okay with that. You know, and I see it happen a lot. I see it happen a lot with not just the LGBTQI plus experience, but I see it in the past with race issues. I see it with mental health issues. I see it, it's like we make ourselves so comfortable for other people to accept us so that we can just live safely and comfortable. Because if you challenge it whatsoever, you know, it's like the younger generation challenging it, and then we get called snowflakes and stuff like that. I mean, it's because we stood up for our rights, or because we're not okay with somebody demeaning us. That makes me a snowflake, or that makes me, I don't know, it's just this whole mentality of, God forbid somebody stand up for their rights, you know? And it's like, I don't know. But I think the history of it, too, is understanding, like, my lived experiences. I wouldn't say in the closet, but even when I was out, I floated in and out of the closet. And I wasn't fooling anybody, but I would do that for their comfort, not for mine. And that's sad, in retrospect, that I ever felt like I had to do that, you know? Anyway. I still do go back and watch some of those talk shows, though. I just cringe when I watch them. I mean, I still love them, because some of them have, like, Mimi Marks, who's, like, at the Baton in Chicago, former Miss Continental. I love her. Maya Douglas. I mean, like, some of those, well, most of them were filmed in Chicago, the shows. So it's almost former Continentals, queens that worked at the Baton in Chicago. So, I mean, I've loved them for, you know, 30 plus years now. And so when I would see them on there, it was like seeing stars that I knew, because they would like come through Indianapolis and go to a bar and we'd all be like, oh my God, that's Mimi Marks or whatever. I can remember seeing Maya Douglas in a bar, and this is when I was with Alex, and it was at Talbot Street. I was like, Alex, that is like Maya Douglas. Like, she is one of my, he was like, who's that? I was like, she's like the 3rd Miss Continental ever, like 1981 or something. Like, she still to this day is gorgeous. I love Maya Douglas. And so I like went up to her, and Alex is like, go up and talk to her. And I was like, okay. And I went up and talked to her. She was super sweet. I was like, I have like adored you from afar for so long. She was like, you've seen me before? I was like, yeah. She's like, why didn't you just come up and say hi to me? She was real sweet. But anyway, it's interesting because people always ask, like, one of the questions I do get on a regular basis is, why do gay men love drag queens so much? I don't know. Like, for a long time, I didn't really understand it either. I think it's the glamour of it. I think it's really a lot of the confidence that drag queens exude, you know? I think when I came out, long before RuPaul's Drag Race, and all my friends were drag queens, I think that it was like a group of like guys that were all my age, and then we like carried all the drag and hung out with all the drag, and they were like celebrities in town. They really were. I mean, and I think for us, it was like, I don't know, like I can just see them walking in places and people be like, oh my God, that's so-and-so, or, you know, and it just like, there was a confidence about it. I think there was something that like, for a long time, we never felt good in our own skin, and all of a sudden, like, here are these people that just transform themselves into these celebrities, and if they could do it, then we could have that feeling too, you know? Plus on top of that, just the creativity, the talent, just all of it was just, I mean, back in the day, they were small town. It was as close as we could get to Taylor Swift, or she didn't exist back then, but to Madonna or whatever. That was as close as we could get. I can remember with some of my friends, us walking into bars and carrying their drag, and it was like, because we were walking in with them, and they'd be like, oh my God, that's so-and-so, and she's, from so-and-so. And just because we were walking with her, all of a sudden, we were kind of like celebrities by association. It was fun, but it was also like, I don't know, they always had everybody around them and stuff like that. I don't know, it was just a cool thing, but... Okay, this has gotten very serious, which my vlogs have been lately, and I said something about it, and you guys were like, we really like the serious vlogs. So the Nespresso machine. So I got online and I bought these London Fog Nespresso pods, but I swore they were K-pods. I actually looked again, and there's one company that makes K-pods, but they weren't even going to get here till like January. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. So Alex was going to give them to somebody that he knew that had a Nespresso machine, and then they didn't want them. You don't even want to try them? I ordered them. It took 2 weeks to get here. So Caroline, they keep their whole coffee system, because she cannot have it out on her kitchen counter, in Mike's office upstairs. So when we were there for Thanksgiving, I said to Caroline, she said, do you want a cup of coffee? And I said, yeah. I said, by the way, do you guys have a Keurig, or do you have an espresso machine? She goes, we have both. And I said, oh, because I have these London Fogs Nespresso machines. She goes, we don't want them. I go, okay. Then David, her son, his girlfriend goes, we have an espresso machine too, and a Keurig. I'm like, now I need an espresso machine. So I said to Caroline, I said, do you love your Nespresso machine? And Mike, her husband, was like, you got to get an espresso machine if you don't have it. It's so much better than a Keurig. So I go up. Okay. I had not seen Caroline's reorganization of Mike's office. So his office, but on one side, she has got this entire, it is like an old school desk, okay? Like teacher school desk, okay? And you pull out the drawer, and Caroline has these racks in there of K-pods and the Nespresso pods. She's got it all organized. Holiday, she's got in there all these different packets of, like, she's got every sugar supplement in the world. She's got creamer out there. She's got it all. It is a complete coffee bar. I was like, oh my God. So anyway, we got it all set up. I was going to have a maple Nespresso, but then I totally forgot about it. But she, Mike, David, and his girlfriend all told me I need an espresso machine. So I'm getting an espresso machine. I'll probably order it tonight. So I'm going to get the espresso machine, and then I'm going to be drinking my own London Fog. I couldn't give those pods away. Nobody wanted those pods. But anyway, what was I going to say about all this madness? I was going to read some comments. I guess we're just going to have to wait until again tomorrow, because now the battery's at the halfway mark, and I got to start getting ready here in a second. Oh my God, because we got to leave here at 4:30. I didn't understand. I was texting Alex's friend about why we didn't get our pictures with Santa yet. She said she's still working on them with the dogs yesterday. That was one of the comments I wanted to react to, that somebody said something about the pictures with Santa and like living in the moment with the dogs and stuff. I love that comment. There was a lot of comments yesterday that I want to respond to. Well, maybe I'll get to them tomorrow. But yeah, tonight we're going out to dinner. We're going to Canal Bistro. It's like this little restaurant in Broad Ripple. It's real cute. I haven't been there in a long time, but I loved it a lot. It was very like loud, and it's real cute and stuff like that. Real casual, so I don't have to dress up. I'll probably even wear a hat tonight. And then I want to read all night tonight. I'm like really into these advent calendar books. So last night I walked, and then I came back. Alex started watching, he started watching The Last Seduction or The Seduction or something on HBO. Watched one episode and was like, it's stupid, I'm out. Then he started watching, I said, babe, I have told you about all these shows. He's like, I know, but he started watching some show called, one of his friends recommended it to him, Light as a Feather or something. He's like 5 episodes into it. He said it's dumb too. I said, you haven't watched The Beast in Me. You haven't watched All Her Fall. All these great shows. He's like, they're on my list. I'm like, okay. So I was like, we were going to watch Beverly Hills last night. Tanya told me that Beverly Hills had been on the night before. So the premiere episode. So we were going to watch Beverly Hills. We were going to watch a movie last night. We ended up watching Beverly Hills and then like Loot. We ended up watching that. But before that, while he was watching a show, I sat there and I read well, now I'm down to like, I think 12 books, 12 or 13. The Franklin Christopher one I started the other night. So I got caught up with all of that last night. I read like 4 chapters in that last night, 3 or 4 chapters. I'm caught up on all that. Well, I wasn't behind on any books except for that one because it was put out in the 4th. But I'm loving reading the Advent Calendar books. And so I sat there for like 2 hours and read. And then Alex and I watched Beverly Hills and Loot. We started Loot, the new season of Loot. And then I took a nap. And then I got up and I read a little bit more. So I'm reading Snowpine Inn too on Kindle. it's not greatly written, but I love it. But it's switched. I don't know. It's about this inn, and you can't trust the innkeeper. But it's like Christmas Eve, and then there's this blizzard. And then tonight I'm going to start the Kristen Mulligan book. And I have another book that I'm going to start tonight. So we're like heavy into the Christmas books, and I'm loving it. So I don't know. Tonight Alex might go over to his girlfriend's house to watch the game. What game? I don't know. I could care less because there's Laura and her mom. I could care less because I just want to read tonight. And so last night, because I read so much when I got from my nap, I didn't get to finish. My plan was to finish. I had 7, 8, 9, and 10. I actually was, I think, halfway through 6 or halfway through 7. I don't remember, of the leftovers. Somebody made a comment on the video, and they said, it's a bunch of ghosts that smoke cigarettes. You only made it through 1 episode. You got to give it a chance. Those people are not ghosts, first of all, that smoke cigarettes. They're not ghosts. They just wear all white. They're like this rebellious, they're a cult. It's a cult. They're not ghosts. The show is so fantastic, and it's so good. So I have 1 episode left. The only thing I didn't like about it is that somebody dies in it, and I don't want to ruin for anybody, an entire episode is all about this person dying, and them, like, being at this hotel, it's like heaven, and all this kind of stuff happens. But anyway, the camera stopped. I have 1 more episode, and then I'm done with season 2, and then I'm going to start season 3. But I also want to start Mistletoe Mysteries. There's 2 seasons of that. There's so many shows I want to start watching. Heated Rivalry, that gay show. I think Alex is going to start that next. I might watch it. People keep on recommending it to me. That Brad bought a book. He is nonstop. He's like a bookstagrammer. I love his stuff, but he like reads like all like gay books and stuff like that. But he's been talking about that Heated Rivalry show. So Alex wanted to start it last night. I was like, I got BritBox. I mean, I like those gay shows. I think it's important for representation, stuff like that. But all those kind of romance. We watched that Royal Red and Blue or whatever, that movie. I thought it was good. Alex thought I had read this one. I didn't read this one. I read Checkmate or something. It's a graphic novel. It was okay. The first one was good. The second one was horrible. I didn't even make it through it. But everybody's talking about this Heated Rivalry show. I'm sure I'll watch it at some point. But Alex was going to turn it on last night to watch the trailer. I said, I already watched the trailer for it. It's about 2 hockey players that fall in love. That's what it's about. And he was like, well, do you want to watch it? I go, no, the whole show's not out yet. It's not at the top of my list. I said, I have Yellow Jackets. I've got so many shows I got to watch before this Heated Rivalry show. That's at the end of my list. He was like, okay. So he's real into the rom-com stuff. My husband loves the rom-coms now. So we watched that, and then he went upstairs. He said he was going to maybe try to finish that show he's watching or start something new. I said, I have given you like 5 shows. And he's like, I know, but I found that he always wants to watch. He loves Spanish shows. That's not a Spanish show, but something new just came back out that he wants to watch. So anyway, so then I got up and I read. So I have 1 episode left of season 2. So I'm going to watch that tonight and read and all that kind of stuff. Cheers. I hardly drank any of this coffee. Look. Okay, I gotta start getting ready because we have to leave here literally in 45 minutes. So I gotta leave here. I did wash last night. I washed my jeans and stuff. So I'm gonna go down there and get that. I'm just gonna dress casual tonight. It'll be real easy. I was probably throwing a hat and stuff. So anyway, you guys having a good weekend? You are? I didn't get to any comments. So tomorrow, if you want me to address a comment, leave it in the comment section tonight. I'll get to the comments tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to get off here so I can go get ready. I hope you guys are having a magically... Thank you so much, I just want to say also, for all the love recently. I mean, you guys always do, but all the love. And also all of the people continuing to send me how I was in like your top 1%, 2%, all kind of stuff. I love that so much. So anyway, hope you guys are having a magically amazing Saturday. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.